Hello again, everyone. Edwin Leonard back once again in this YouTube astrological segment. I'm going to be talking about Mars in conjunct Chiron in a natal chart. Now, some of you may remember when I first started my YouTube astrology channel, I did a series on the aspects of the natal chart. They were a little bit concise. Some people may refer to them as snappy. So what I decided to do was make another series on them in which the videos would be a little bit longer and more descriptive. So anyway, first thing up is, if you have Mars in conjunct Chiron in your natal chart, an adjustment, which is the inconjunct, may be needed between activities you have an enthusiasm, which is Mars, for, and helping and healing others, which is Chiron. One or the other may be overemphasized. You may be dominated by one or the other. The key is to find balance and equilibrium between the two. It could be where you're doing so much activities that you have that enthusiasm for to the expense of helping and healing others, or it could be the other way around. Your time may be monopolized by others that need your help and assistance, and people that need to be healed somehow, to the point where you deprive yourself of the activities you have that enthusiasm for. So again, the key is finding that balance between the two energies. If Chiron is in Aquarius, as an example, helping and healing others may be done through humanitarian, altruistic actions and endeavors. It could be doing something with astrology, astronomy, computers, or electronics, such as computer or electronic repair for others. It could also be too where if you have Mars in conjunct Chiron in a natal chart, another way it may manifest is that there could be an imbalance between activities with sexual partners, which is Mars, and healers, which is Chiron. Your time may be dominated by one or the other. There may be too much activities with sexual partners to the expense of the healers, which is Chiron, or it could be the other way around, where you're for whatever reason, you're spending a lot of time with healers, whether they may be physicians or what have you, to the point where you're deprived of the activities with the sexual partners. Now, the thing is, let's say if Mars is in Aries, as an example, one or more sexual partners may actually be an Aries sun, moon, or ascendant, or simply embody the characteristics of the sign. It could be those that are aggressive, assertive, forceful, courageous, action-oriented, but can be very impulsive, impetuous, and overly outspoken as well. Now, another thing, too, is that Mars in conjunct Chiron in a natal chart may also be expressed in having, it could be too much or too little energy and vitality, which is Mars, being expended in helping and healing others, which is Chiron. It could be where you're just not, there may be times where you're expending an exorbitant amount of energy in helping and healing others, and other times there just may be no energy whatsoever in those matters. You may go through extensive periods without really doing anything, in terms of expending energy in helping others and healing them. So, the key again is finding the balance in that. And let's say, if Chiron is in Pisces, as an example, may help and heal others, with matters with self-undoing or secret sorrows or issues with isolation. It could be matters the person had dealt with, connected with fraud, or a victim of some kind of deception or duplicity. As some examples, it could be those that are less fortunate, including the oppressed, the hungry, the homeless, the impoverished, as some examples. And also too, arguments which is Mars with healers, may either be extremely acrimonious, or there may be times where they're just the opposite, where they're very peaceful and constructive. It could be, let's say, if Mars is in Sagittarius, as an example, those arguments, may be over matters with religion or philosophy, or it could be something sports related, something over religion, or it may be some kind of belief. As some examples, matters with higher education or expanded horizons as some examples. Now, another thing too is that there may be an exorbitant amount of drive and motivation, which is Mars, for dealing with the deepest wound, which is Chiron, or there may be times where there's none, whatsoever, where there's no, incentive or drive and motivation in those matters. Now, let's say if Chiron is in Aries, the deepest wound that the person may struggle with, it could be identity issues, it could be something of physical nature, maybe it's something, lack of aggression or being assertive or standing up for oneself. It could be, something that involved a physical confrontation at some time. And, again, it's good to have an hustle. And it may not always be bad to have a lot of, tremendous amount of drive and motivation for something, but not to the point, to the exclusion of other things. The key is to find, that regular amount of drive and motivation in those matters, in dealing with your deepest wound, again, which is Chiron. Now, another way this aspect may manifest and pan out is that it could be where any issues associated with the head, the skull, the face, muscles, or sexual organs, which is Mars, may either be easily healed, which is Chiron, or it may take extensive time, to recuperate. It may go through you may go through a prolonged time or prolonged periods in terms of recovering, from those issues, from healing from them. So, if, let's say, for example, if Mars is in Aquarius, it could be those issues may be more intermittent, sporadic, erratic. They may be more nerve-related. Mars in Capricorn can be ones that are more enduring, or it could come in older age. It may be something more bone-related, as some examples, and also too, physical related issues and injuries, which is Mars, may either cause tremendous emotional suffering and anguish, which is Chiron, and there may be other times when it may not cause any whatsoever. So, the thing is, let's say, or it could exacerbate or worsen, those issues, as far as emotional suffering goes and anguish. Now, let's say, if Chiron is in Taurus, as an example, that emotional suffering and anguish may be tied in with monetary matters or financial situation. It may be issues with peace and stability, or it could be something over self-worth, self-esteem, how you may feel about yourself, things of that nature, or issues with being persistent with something or matters in general. Also, too, there may be either an exceptional amount of enthusiasm, which is Mars, for astrology and helping and healing others, which is Chiron, or there may go through extensive periods where you may be very apathetic regarding those things. And if Mars, let's say if Chiron is in Gemini, you may be interested, in manifold, branches, of astrology. As example, Chiron in Aquarius may have an interest in astrology on a very advanced level, or there may be very unique, ideas connected with the subject. Also, too, another way, this aspect may be expressed in the natal chart is that it could be where sexual partners and leaders, which is Mars, may either be extremely beneficial in helping you deal with depleted self-esteem, which is Chiron, or there may be times where they're very extremely oblivious to this. And let's say if you have your Chiron in the zodiac sign Cancer, as an example, depleted self-esteem, maybe tied in with home and family-related issues. It could be matters with the latter part of life, such as not being properly prepared for it. It could be matters with safety and security, as some examples. Anyway, people, that'll conclude this YouTube astrological segment. Until next time, Edwin Leonard saying stay well.